Welcome to Simply Trade, brought to you by Global Training Center. My name is Lalo, and together with my co-host, Andy Shiles, we have well over 60 years of combined trade, logistics, and supply chain experience. Along the way, we have seen and experienced different challenges in trade compliance. We decided to put the show together and call on our friends and colleagues in the business to discuss these topics and just hang out with us to shoot the ship on all things trade. Thank you for spending some time with us. Enjoy the show. Hey everyone, we're back. We've got a special episode this week, or episodes this week, and Andy's not around for this recording right now. We'll explain here in a little bit what we're doing, but I have another person on our team. Her name is Anik Sobin. So I decided to ask her to help me introduce this week's episodes, and again, we'll explain what we're doing here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anik, just as Lalo just described. I'm very excited to be on the podcast this week. And actually, this is not my first time because we were at the ICPA conference this week in Dallas, Texas, which was a success for everyone, I would hope. Woo! Yeah, we got some cheering going on here. It's exactly how we feel about this conference because it was awesome to connect with all these people. And we had an exciting event happening because we actually brought the podcast, or I guess Lalo and Andy brought the podcast to the conference to kind of highlight the benefits, new people that their first time was at the conference, kind of got to explain how they liked the conference and what they got out of it. Then people that have been there for so many years also got to talk about their issues or, you know, what they like better at this conference or things they want to highlight. So it was really exciting for me to see, especially because it was my first time, which was really exciting. And it was like nothing I imagined it to be. It was much better. So I'm so excited to listen to the podcast because I mean to the episode because I had not done that before.
And Anik was a little social butterfly, so she managed to get a bunch of people to come up and talk to us. So aside from the attendees, first-timers, and returning, we also got to talk to service providers, people who help people attending there, right? You know, like attorneys and stuff like that. We also got to talk to sponsors, one of the sponsors there, and the Queen Bee herself. The daughter of the Queen Bee, the Elizabeth, who runs all of ICPA. So we had her also talk and give us a little bit about the conference. So enjoy. I guess we'll. What we're gonna do is that we're gonna split this up, very likely into 2 episodes because we have quite a few interviews. We'll have maybe 3 or 4, 2 or 3 maybe per episode, I suppose. So we'll do that, and we'll introduce them as they come on. So I know this first one is with someone named Kiko Zuniga, who is from NCBFAA, and then you met the other person, Anik, Joe Burks from.
I'm really bad with the names. I don't even remember who we talked to, but they were all awesome, I think. Yeah. And they were so different. That's the beauty of it all. I feel like no one had the same things to say. Everyone had something else to say. And it's so interesting to hear all these different perspectives out of all different places. And yeah, so I'm very excited for this to air, and I hope a lot of people will get something out of it. Maybe we'll be inspired to go to the conference this upcoming time in Orlando. And hopefully, I don't know, we'll see what happens. So I'm very excited. So let's get this started.
Yeah, so
we need some cheering again.
Yeah, here we go.
Woo! All right, have a great listen.
Thank you all. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Good.
Man, I tell you what, it has been pretty cool so far. This conference at ICPA has been 300 people on site. That's what it used to be in the fall.
Right.
And of course, the big one was in March, right?
Usually about 850, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And so they have like just under 300 here today, and they have I think it's almost 100 people online.
Virtual.
Virtual.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty slick. So
Well, these guys do a great job every time. I mean, they have a good formula. They got good education. Can't go wrong with what they're doing.
I love it. I love it. Hey, listen, one of the things that I'm excited about that we're going to be looking at is at some point I need to get with you on, I'm doing a new Mid-South economic development program.
Oh, really?
And it definitely falls in line with your the NCB, FAA, certifications and stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to be getting with you. But one of the things that I see, is there credit that in these kinds of seminars that people attend, is they're trying to prepare that goes towards, some of their certifications with?
Absolutely. So like normally what people will do is, ICPA as an example, they send in the agenda prior to the event.
Right.
And we will score that for either continuing education points for import or export, because as you know, we have two different certifications, one as the certified customs specialist and the certified export specialist.
Right.
This event in particular has got 15 continuing education credits.
Oh, that's fantastic. So for those in the audience, if you are looking at beefing up your resume, one of the things that Kiko just mentioned is the CCS, CES, Certified Customs Specialist or Certified Export Specialist. Man, take a look at it. If you're getting training anyway, you might as well get your work towards getting your certification. And it definitely gives you more credibility when you're applying for jobs and looking at your career movement. So that is definitely worthwhile. So.
I tell you, in my own private company, I have a customs brokerage operation down in Laredo. Mm-hmm. The RFQs that I get now, which is different from before, have that question. How many certified customs specialists do you have on staff?
Oh, wow.
How many certified export specialists do you have on staff?
That's
because it shows the recognition within the industry for those certifications.
And I always thought that was a good alternative to having to go the full boat, meaning the full broker license.
Right.
For people who just don't want to be a licensed broker, but they want to show that they know just as much, and this is a perfect way to do that.
Well, one of my calling cards that I tell people all the time is whether you're an importer, an exporter, a broker, service provider, or actual client, the best movement of freight is when everybody within that chain is knowledgeable. So this is not just for service providers.
Right.
This is also for importers and exporters.
Oh, no, exactly.
So that they can show and they can hold their service providers accountable.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, it empowers them with the right questions to ask in a situation. You can't be an expert in all things.
No.
A lot of us have been around since dirt, unfortunately. But on the same token, this is one of the things I say is you learn or you enjoy the win, but you learn from a failure. Absolutely. Or from a loss. And many of us have had a lot of challenges when something didn't go right or, something, you wind up being that pooper scooper at the end of the parade.
Sure.
And yet this is the kind of stuff where it's like, well, what do I do with it? And this gives us the knowledge to do it.
Yep.
So.
Absolutely. Awesome. And, not a day goes by that you shouldn't be learning something, right?
Yeah. Kiko, what would be, if you could go back and see your 21-year-old self, what advice would you give?
Broaden your horizons.
Really?
Yeah, because we're all, especially if you go through college or any educational program, I don't think you would have ever heard international trade in one of those programs.
Oh, heck no.
You come out of school wanting to be a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer. Tell me someone that says, I want to be an international trade professional.
Right.
You're right.
Right. So I say broaden the horizons. Look at all of the abilities that are out there and all the possibilities that you can avail yourself of. It's a huge market, and it's a market, especially in international trade, that's not going away, right?
Oh, definitely. And if anything, it expands even more. Let's just say that U.S. imports dies off for whatever reason due to, the economy and everything else. Yet U.S. exports should be picking up.
Right.
So it's like somebody's import is somebody else's export, and the knowledge it takes to generate the right paperwork, look at and have the appropriate oversight. You're right.
Yeah, the other thing that we don't live in a stagnant world, and this, my 21-year-old self would have said, I've learned everything I need to learn.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Got all the answers,
I've
right?
got all the answers, and the reality is, with each day that goes by, there's something new that we need to learn
Right.
to do with our business. Right? It's not even so. As a customs broker, I got licensed 30 plus years ago. Had I not kept up with my education, I would be irrelevant today. Even though
Right.
I have a license, I would be irrelevant.
Right.
Because there's too many trade agreements, there's too many embargoes, too many sanctions that I needed to know about.
Right.
So you have to stay engaged in what you're doing.
Right.
And you know, my 21-year-old self would have said, I don't need to do that.
Well, even trying to stay up with current affairs is so, I mean, what comes of the trade agreements or the sanctions or the different things that we have to deal with comes from the current affairs. And usually actions from the government are, you know, months to years behind. Yet you got to know what's going on and who you're dealing with. So that's a good point.
Yeah, the other thing that even in our education, it's not just about our regulatory affairs, right? It's also about what's going on as a good citizen of this earth, right? So now you have stuff like forced labor,
Right.
and we need to be aware of that. You know, absolutely.
Come on, Joe.
Come on, Joe.
Come on, Joe. Join us.
You got to join us here.
Let me get this unwound here. Joe Burks is joining us, folks.
Lalo, it's been a while.
Lalo, yeah. How are you, Joe?
Better than I deserve. How are you?
Good, thank
See if we
you.
can get this. We got it all tied up, so trying not to.
All over here.
Oh, look
Hey,
at this.
Look at that.
Okay.
Hey,
Gotta get, now I have all your faces. Oh, okay. That's great. I love it.
Here.
My pictures
it.
come out great.
there we
Okay,
go.
one more. Sorry.
See, now I can't hear if she tells me it's okay.
Okay.
Hey, listen, I'm the one that looks like the south end of Northbound Mule, so it's like it's going to crack the lens anytime here. So, Joe, how are you doing, man?
Better than I deserve, Andy.
Yeah?
Better than I deserve.
I keep hearing that. That is excellent.
That's been my mantra for several years.
Yeah.
Now we've got Cam up here taking pictures.
Oh, there we go. This is excellent.
This man's
Excellent.
got like a pro look to him.
Yeah, he does.
And he's got the fashion look too.
Yeah,
Man,
he
really
does,
does. I love it.
I love
it.
those glasses. Yeah.
Well, Kika was talking about, broaden your horizons if you went back and talked to your 21-year-old self. So I'm going to throw you the same question, Joe. If you got to go back in time and talk to your 21-year-old self, what would you tell yourself?
I would have told myself to start at that point in time. I didn't get started in trade until about 24, 25. Would have said started right away.
Move a little closer if you don't mind.
Start right away.
perfect.
And, understand more about it.
Right.
Andy, we've known each other for a long time. I've known Lalo for a long time. And the whole idea behind it is that there's a lot to be said and done in what we do.
Right.
And there's still so many companies that I run into every day that don't understand the value that trade can bring to an organization. And being that I've been tied most of my career into operations, to the day-to-day execution, I've seen the value that it brings. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I said one of the things that I would do is I would always review my ACE reports.
Oh,
And
yeah.
look at my ACE reports and
Right.
go, wait a minute, I imported this from Canada,
Right.
but they bought it out of China. I've got my own office in China. Why am I wasting my time and money? And I gave it to our supply chain folks and said, hey, here's the story. And they went back over and had our team go source it from the same manufacturer, but I mean at about a 50% decrease in price.
Oh, and information is extremely valuable, and matter of fact, Jerry Peck just finished up a session just a while ago.
Yeah.
And he made a comment. He said data is like gold or like oil. The old oil wells and stuff like that. The data is one of those things that winds up empowering you. Obviously,
but
on
see-
price or whatever else you're trying to do.
I'll take a little different twist on that. People today are data rich, information poor. They got all this data, they don't know what to do with it.
Right.
So one of the things I'd probably go kick my 21-year-old self in is say, be able to manipulate data better and understand the data. So many people say you can't measure trade. I totally disagree with him.
Oh,
Because one of my mantra is you can't fix what you don't measure.
right.
How do you know if it's right or wrong? You measure it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So, and people would say, oh, but the data's bad. And I said, okay, but if it's bad data and you measure it the same way every time, you can develop trends, and now you know what to go and attack and what to look at. So it's one of the things I tell my 21-year-old self is to go back and focus more on the day-to-day business. Don't work strictly in trade. Expand your horizons. You want to be trade focused. It's great. It's been a great industry for me. It's made me a great living, so I won't complain, but you need to understand more of what goes on in the business to add value to it. And that's the key is so many people see trade as a business inhibitor. Okay. They want to slow business down. Oh, can't do that. Customers won't allow it. Rather than finding a way to augment business, to support business, and Layla, that's the same thing. How many times were we on the phone saying, man, I need this feature. I need this feature.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
He used to work for a company that made EMIX software, or IMIX software.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we would go, okay, we want to do this. And, we went into Mexico and started finding things like Reglock, Tava, and fiscal
exactly,
deposit. And Layla's going, well, I'm working on it. Well, work faster. We need it.
I needed this yesterday.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
Well, of course, you come up with an idea. You want to do it right then and
Right.
right there.
Of course.
well, and how many times as a service provider, it's like a client will call up and go, I could really use this. Could you do me a favor? And I need it like yesterday. And it was like, oh, I got to stop everything now. It's urgent to you. And now all of a sudden it's like, well, now wait a minute. I got, you're killing my schedule, but I get it. Hey, listen, guys, I need to wrap this up for this little segment, but then we're going to be doing some others in here. But you two
thanks for
are
joining
fantastic.
us. Yeah.
Oh, no
so
problem.
so we asked that 21-year-old question is because if you look around, there's a bunch of kids around here now.
Oh, yeah.
There is. Isn't that
Isn't
wonderful?
it crazy? That's awesome. It's awesome. So
There's a lot of first timers that I'm seeing at this
And
conference.
I think that's even better.
yeah, it's
Even better.
awesome.
I mean,
Yeah.
because us old guys, come on, we're has-beens. I'll be the first one to admit
We're
that.
going back to dirt faster than we want.
Yeah. So it's great to see all these first-timers and these
Yeah.
young kids
I
getting
love it.
in.
Yeah. Look at them, and you just look out there. Look
Share.
at all these
Well,
kids.
It's
There's
great
quite a few.
that I'm now able to share
Yeah.
what I've learned over the
Yeah.
years
Right. Yeah.
with these kids.
Actually, and it seems like they're very open. And it's like a sponge trying to absorb it
Oh,
in.
yeah.
Right? You get that deer in the headlight look.
It doesn't take long.
yeah.
And there you go.
But anyway, thanks,
right.
guys.
No
Guys,
problem.
thanks
for your time.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Uh-huh.
There you go.
So we got day 2 here at ICPA. We got a couple of guests, Andy.
All right. And it's like I am excited with this because I just met Brad Beyner.
Yes.
Okay. And then I see Shannon,
Horton.
Horton. All right. And who are you with?
I'm with Ineos Composites out of Dublin, Ohio.
Oh, wow. And who are you with, Brad?
I'm with Tektronic Industries.
Okay. And scoot up just a little bit more there.
So is that
Tektronic, the printers.
no?
No.
You used to be Hoover, no?
Yes,
Yes.
I'm with Hoover.
Hoover.
Dirt
Oh,
Devil,
okay.
Milwaukee
Yeah.
Tools.
Yeah.
All right. Too cool.
Yeah, they used to be my client in Mexico when I used to sell software, so I know who they are.
There you go.
They had
So-
a big old facility in El Paso. Did you? Oh, are you new to TTI or?
Like a year and a half.
Oh no, yeah. They shut down the big old facility in El Paso. It's a big old Hoover factory there. But anyway, Brad's a first timer.
First timer to ICPA here at the fall conference, and then Shannon, have you been here before?
I have, not
Awesome.
just here in Dallas at this particular conference. This is my third, but I've also been to several other locations.
Nice.
Fantastic.
So what do y'all think so far?
What do you think of this
Post-pandemic.
year's, especially, all right, Brad, for a first timer to an ICPA? So first off, before you go in that, tell us, it's like, have you just gotten thrown into the compliance arena, or they're just now letting you out of your cage and to come out to?
No, I've kind of always wanted to be in this industry since college, and this is kind of like a dream come true because like. I don't know. You have conversations with trade compliance people that doesn't happen all the time in normal work. So this is great. And seeing all the vendors and stuff.
Oh, it's a good group. Good
Yeah.
group. All right. So, as a first-time attendee to ICPA, So what do you think about that? Has it been good? Has it been overwhelming? Has it been boring? Has it been what?
It's been exciting. I've been looking at the schedule and like getting excited for each seminar coming up and stuff. So it's been amazing.
So you've been focused on imports, exports, the general track, or is it just whatever interests you?
Imports mainly just because that's what we do more, and I'm a licensed customs broker, so that's what
Oh,
I'm
okay.
Oh, okay.
so
Nice.
That's what I like a little bit better too.
There you go. There you go. All right, Shannon, you've been to, like you said, several conferences. So here we are in really the first true post-pandemic era. In some things here, what do you think? Does it seem like we're back, or is this a good conference, or has it been everybody's just trying to still tip their toe in the water and say, let me try it?
I definitely believe that it's back.
Yes.
I think it's great in person. I think you get a lot of better networking connections in person versus certainly virtually. You can ask questions. I certainly utilize these conferences not just for the knowledge of the sessions, but also to ask questions that really face our business with others that are equally in the same boat, if you want to say.
Right.
That whether you're talking about forced labor, whether you're talking about a drawback question that you have. For me personally, I've been in the compliance arena for many, many years and curious about our own drawback process. And there's a lot of sponsors here this week, that can ask. I can ask the same question to all different people, like different sponsors, and they can give me different answers and better information on how to perceive my own particular question. My broker happens to be one of the sponsors, so it's a wonderful opportunity. We're in different states. Who handles so that I can be face to face and ask questions for the up and coming year. It's a great opportunity for that, to have some true one-on-one time that's outside of wandering around looking. So it's a great opportunity.
One of the things that I like about these types of conferences is as a country boy, I'm gonna come out with something stupid probably here, but it's like you can talk turkey with somebody and they know what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
It's one of those things you don't get the deer in the headlight look, or they're like, alrighty then, what is it you do? And you try and tell them, and then it's like, okay, and they just walk off. This is something where people really do understand what you're dealing with, so that's good. So,
Absolutely.
All right, Shannon, talk about your background. What you said you've been in compliance for a while, so
Yes, I have been the last 25 years.
Wow.
I currently work with Ineos Composites Chemical Company. They have quite a few Ineos businesses here in Texas, down in the Houston area. Our particular headquarters is in, like I said, outside in Columbus, Ohio. So I've had a lot of diverse opportunity over the years, and chemicals is somewhat new for me. So I have a really great.
very complex, is it not?
It's very different, and textiles, which is the majority of my background, is complicated in its own way.
Right.
Yes.
But it's very, very different than chemicals. So I
Right.
get that's what I really love about the ICPA is we're all learning from one another. So while my background may help someone else, and I can offer some information just from personal experience, but then someone else really can help me. And there are other importers who are in the chemical company that are attending as well.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes we can just simply ask about perception on a particular regulation. It's nothing personal. So that's what I really love about the program itself.
Excellent.
The next session is about to start in 5 minutes, so we don't want to keep anybody. But any last words or
All
something?
right, real quick, in a short scenario, if you could go back in time and talk to your 21-year-old self, what did this young guy here?
That
is
wasn't
like,
too long ago.
What was that, yesterday? What would you tell yourself?
I'd say keep studying. I'm studying for my export certificate now with the NCBFA. I wish I started that earlier. So, yeah, just keep studying.
Keep
and
studying,
working
keep
hard.
learning, right?
Yeah, right.
Nice.
Okay, Shannon, how about yourself? What would you tell yourself? 21-year-old.
Invest more in Microsoft.
There you
And Apple. And Tesla.
Yeah, there you go.
There's going to be
There
this
you go.
company called Tesla.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's one of those things where I tell folks all the time, keep, taking some of your money, put in a savings account or something, and have it automatically taken out. So, you don't even see it. Next thing you know, it's
100%.
like, hey, got a nest egg. Okay, well, listen, we've got to run. I want you all to be able to make your next session, and I got to run back upstairs because I'm facilitating or hosting it. So it's like, all right. Thank you so
Well,
much
thank
for
you
sitting
all.
by.
Thank you.
All
Yep.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we have Andy missing today, but we've
Yes.
got a guest host, Miss Anik,
Hello,
from our
guys.
office.
Yeah, it's me today, so that's exciting. I've been wanting to jump on here, but I'm very excited. And then we have a friend with us. She's a first timer as well. I'm a first timer at ICPA, and she's won too, so that's exciting. So introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jade. I work with an exporter of building materials in Florida, and it's the first time.
A little closer.
Okay, it's the first time I come to an ICPA meeting. So far, it's been very interesting. I really appreciated the conferences we had yesterday and today, and I can say that I see a lot of value in coming here.
Awesome. What's been
Yeah.
your favorite or your best session, you think?
I really like the foreign train zone one was very interesting. The routed transaction one yesterday afternoon was
Oh, yeah.
very interesting for us. So was the audit this morning. That was a very good, like how to set up your audit process and
Yeah.
internal audits and stuff. Yeah.
That's amazing. So what do you think you're getting out of this? Like going back to your job, like are you bringing anything back, like material values that you can take into your job?
So we're in the process currently of updating all of our procedures, all of our guidebooks, because it's and that's something that's been talked about in a lot of the conferences. Is that a lot of companies, they kind of did it when they got set up years ago, and then never really got anything updated, never double checked a lot of the stuff. So that's what we're doing right now. So it's really good to have kind of updated information on what are the current guidelines, like what's current practice. Because I mean, a lot of the things we have, like people were still filing the actual SCD, everything was paper. It was just like a lot of our information for future training and also for compliance are outdated. So it's good to get current information.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a trade newbie, so I don't know much about trade, importing, exporting, nothing. But obviously, I've learned a bit here, and then I've learned that getting your whole team trained and just being prepared for anything is so important. Just so you guys are on the same page, and whatever happens, you guys know what to do and are prepared. Kind of being more proactive
Yeah.
rather than reactive. And that's what I've learned in the process. But I like seeing everyone's perspective here because it's so different, right? Because like we do training, and I thought everyone else does training, but that's not what they do at all. So I'm like, because some people come to us, they're like, what are we training? What are you training for? I'm like, you don't know? Like this is so it's like funny because I expected everyone does the same thing, but people do so many things. Like there's lawyers here, and there's so many different people, and there's so much to learn. So that's awesome. Well, that's what I've learned. So I feel like we're on the same page, but I'm glad you enjoyed.
Yeah,
All
it's
of
been,
it.
I mean, it's been good. It's the second type of conference I do in the industry. I did one in August with the National Customs Brokers and Freight
NCBFAA?
Forward. Yeah,
Yeah, the
exactly.
GTEC? Yeah,
the
yeah,
GTEC. That was
yeah.
very interesting as well. It was different information. They had a lot of government agencies that were there.
Yeah.
And here is a little bit, and that was more for, obviously, it's the Freight Forwarder and Customs Broker
Right.
Association, so it was a little bit different than when you're in the industry. So our company's a little bit, we have sister companies that are both freight forwarders and exporters. So it's good to get the point of view from kind of the different perspectives when you're the seller versus when you're the freight forwarder.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm like, okay, understood, noted. I need to learn more.
And how's the networking been for you, dude? Have you met
Good.
people? And
Yeah, absolutely. We've met good people. Like you said, like a lot of law firms, that's usually how it is at conferences, though.
Yeah.
Like all the sponsors are always law firms or software companies.
Right.
Everybody's got some type of software or screening list or automation tool that they can sell you. But we've had good contacts for some
Good.
of the areas where we think we could do a better job. We have duty drawback programs, so I think the duty drawback was really good. I didn't sit through that conference; my colleague did, but I feel like we've made some good connections with the people that
And
were
as
here.
a first timer, do you think it's worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it depends what you're looking for. But I think it's good, even if you're seasoned in the industry and you've been doing it for a long time.
Right.
It's good information to kind of get up to date, and it's also a good place to meet new people and see
Right.
kind of like what are people doing. Is my organization, because sometimes it's so easy to just be compliant, not compliance, but like you're so used to doing things a certain way.
Right.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, you're doing it this way, and it's this much faster. Why am I not doing that?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just think that the way you're doing it is the best way because that's how you've been doing it. And it's
Exactly,
just-
because you're so comfortable, right?
Exactly.
And
Right.
sometimes you have to get uncomfortable,
Yeah.
which is so hard for people,
Yeah.
like in life in general.
Yes.
But well, that's amazing. I'm so glad because we're on the same page. I've been loving this. It's so great to meet new people, to see different perspectives. So I'm glad we're all here, and we're gonna actually break to lunch right now.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
exciting. The food's really good. I have to add that. Yesterday's lunch was so good. I wanted to eat more, but I'm like, no, Annick, stop. But I'm so glad you're enjoying this. So
Yeah.
we hope we have a great rest of the day, right?
Thank you.
It's
Yeah,
like-
and tomorrow
Jade.
I'm doing the workshop tomorrow as well.
Oh, are you? Oh,
Amazing.
nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm doing the audit or whatever when you get like
Yeah,
inspected
yeah.
workshop.
we did hear
tomorrow.
that. It's like someone came and he's like, I'm the last person today to speak. I hope there's people. And
Yeah.
then he said, but there's an audit tomorrow, so hopefully all those people
Yeah,
are coming
exactly.
today.
Yeah.
So that's great. I think there's like
Yeah, that
80
was
people
Will,
or
I
something.
think. Will is one of the last speakers.
Yeah,
Over
he is.
there?
Yeah,
From-
yeah.
Yes.
From Crypt.
Yes, from
yeah.
Crypt.
Yeah,
we
Will
saw
from
it.
Crypt. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So you should go check him out. I
will go
I'm doing
support
marketing
Will.
for him as well right now. Okay, well,
thanks,
thank you so
Jade.
much for
Thank you
hopping
guys for
on.
having me.
Thank you. Have a good
All right.
lunch, and good luck on winning our prize.
Thank you. I
Yes.
hope I do. I hope I win.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. Simply Trade is brought to you by the generous contributions of Global Training Center. You can follow the show and GTC on LinkedIn or Twitter and other social networks. Make sure you check out the show notes in the description for a full rundown of today's show with all the important links. Also, make sure that you share this with a friend and subscribe on your favorite streaming platform. We really like hearing from you. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to rate and review wherever you listen to this podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest in the show or would like to sponsor Simply Trade or suggest any topic you would like for us to discuss, please contact us via email at simplytrade@globaltrainingcenter.com, or you can DM us on Twitter at simplytradepod. Thank you again for the privilege of your time. Happy trading. Simply Trade is not a law firm or an advisor. The topics and discussions conducted by Simply Trade hosts and guests should not be considered and is not intended to substitute legal advice. You should seek appropriate counsel for your own situations. These conversations and information are directed towards listeners in the United States for informational, educational, entertainment purposes only and should not be substituted for legal advice. No listener or viewer of this podcast should act or refrain from acting on the basis of information on this podcast without first seeking legal advice from counsel. Information on this podcast may not be up to date depending on the time of publishing and the time of viewership. The content of this posting is provided as is. No representations are made that the content is error-free. The views expressed in or through this podcast are those of the individual speakers, not those of their respective employers or Global Training Center as a whole. All liability with respect to actions taken or not taken based on the contents of this podcast are hereby expressly disclaimed.